Are you a small business owner thinking about putting in place a retirement plan for your place of business? Well, joining me to discuss what you need to think about is Chad Parks from Ubiquity Retirement and Savings. Chad recently wrote an article about this very subject for Retirement Daily. Chad, welcome.
Hello, Robert. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. So the four things that people need to think about, the first thing is cost.
Yep. There's no free lunch. You got to pay for these things. So what we need to look for in cost is, one, who's getting paid what? That's really important. And two, how are they getting paid? Are they charging you a flat fee for service, or are they charging you a percentage of your assets? And so those are the two main things that you want to drill down into. There's pros and cons for each, but in my preference, I prefer a flat fee for service approach rather than an asset under management model.
Right. Now, generally, my recollection is that small businesses will tend to pay more for their retirement plan than larger companies with large numbers of employees. Is that correct? Fair to say?
There is the idea of economies of scale, that these large institutions have buying power and they have negotiating power and they have committees who are going to pick these providers. That being said, a lot has changed in the marketplace where now there are really affordable turnkey online 401ks available for small businesses. And in our own company's example, we started about $100 a month to the company and a small per head charge for the employee. So we really like to think that cost should not be the issue. And I'll add that with the passage of the Secure Act at the end of 2019, there's now even more tax credit available to help you offset any costs you have with a plan like ours, up to $5,000 of tax credit. So the government's really getting behind this and trying to encourage you, the small business owners, to get involved in retirement savings and make these plans available to both yourself and your employees.
Right. And what we're talking about here is a plain vanilla 401k. We're not talking about a defined benefit plan. We're not talking about a money purchase plan with profit sharing, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, a plain vanilla 401k in which you and your employees can defer some of your own salary for your own future. And I think one of the misperceptions that small business owners have is that they have to do some sort of a match, but that's not the case. With a plain vanilla 401k, a match is optional. So you don't really have to contribute anything if you don't want to or if you're not able to.
All right. So the other factor that people need to consider is the number and type of investments that they'll be offering in the plan.
Yeah, that's right. So oftentimes I want to help people understand that first and foremost, it is a savings vehicle. You're saving money and you're saving on taxes. Secondarily, you can and you should invest that money for long-term growth. So don't confuse savings with investing. And when you choose investments, that's really an important area because that's an area where most people are not experts. And like it or not, Wall Street has made this very opaque for a lot of reasons. And what you really need to focus on are low-cost alternative investments that offer a good rate of return, that ideally you can work with a financial advisor or a professional firm who's going to select those investments for you and monitor them. And if they take it a step further, create custom allocation portfolios for each of your employees so that means that if you're 20 years to retirement or 40 years to retirement, you have an easy to follow, the term usually is age-weighted or target date fund, so that you can just put your money right in there and it will be invested professionally for you. So we don't want people to get too hung up on the investments, but do pay attention to what investments are being offered and how much they're charging for those investments.
All right. And then we talked a little bit about plan design a second ago, but care to elaborate on what people need to know about plan design?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because plan design, we did talk, and I acknowledge that you can have a plain vanilla plan design, but it doesn't always have to be that way. What you can do, and in our own case, we allow a little bit more flexibility depending upon your situation. So that plan design means, do you have a staff that has a high turnover? Do you have a lot of part-time employees that are seasonal? Do you have a core group of people who stay with you throughout the year? How do you design a plan so that it's efficient and cost-effective and rewards those who are going to be with you for the long term? And so when we talk about plan design, you can also put things in. You mentioned money purchase pension plan and others. There's something a little more advanced called new comparability. That's a little complicated, but let's just say that you can skew profit sharing contributions towards the older owners versus the younger workers. And that's also very attractive in some cases.
I should mention that many times when I talk to small business owners, they're always leery of the liability that they might incur when they put in place a retirement plan like a 401k. Do you want to just mention briefly the kind of liability small business owners face or don't face with respect to?
Sure. And that's a great point. And that is one of the things that do perhaps keep people away from it. So this is what's called a qualified retirement plan. You're starting a retirement trust on behalf of you and your employees. You will most likely be the trustee of this trust. And with that comes fiduciary responsibility, because these are people's hard-earned money that is going into this plan for their benefit, for their future, and you have to act with prudence. So it sounds more scary than it really is, because there's two levels of fiduciary responsibility. One is on the investments, as I've already mentioned, but you can hire third parties to be the fiduciary as it relates to the investments in a very cost-effective way. And then there's a plan administrative fiduciary, which means you just have to make sure everything's running correctly. But when you work with firms like ours and others, if you do what we ask you to do, when we ask you to do it, then you most likely will not run afoul. The real problem we find mostly when there's a fiduciary problem is usually when there's malfeasance or fraud or someone not paying attention to the rules on purpose. So as long as you do what we ask you to do, we've definitely designed this to try to keep this, as limited liability as possible for you. One way that we see our small business owners protecting themselves from this is you can add on to your property casualty insurance what's called a fiduciary bond. And so they will insure you against anything as long as you've done everything you're supposed to do.
And the last thing that you mentioned in the article was customer service.
Mm-hmm. Well, so in a world where we like to think of this as moving towards a more commoditized experience, right? There's only so many moving parts. If it's done well, it should work well. You shouldn't really have to worry about it too much. But in a world of commoditized 401k plans, what's going to really separate the different providers, right? Because we know it's hard for individual business owners to become an expert in retirement plans, and the splashy marketing sites and the promises being made may confuse you. So really, at the end of the day, what I think is going to separate providers from each other is what level of customer service will they be able to offer? Do they offer a dedicated service team for you, the business owner, and your HR people? Do they offer a dedicated service team for your employees because they're going to have questions and want to call in? What methods do they provide you to provide access? Is it chat? Is it text? Is it website, CRM? Is it email? Is it telephone? Just ask these questions and make sure that they actually have people behind the scenes to help you through this process. Because there is an opportunity to over automate and become invisible. And this is not one of those types of experiences that you want to just completely have no contact with humans whatsoever.
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially if you're a small business owner who is putting in place a retirement plan for probably a few, maybe in some cases, a very few number of people, all of whom may be not only your employees, but maybe even your friends.
Yeah. It's sort of it's an unfortunate way in which our retirement savings system has been put together in the United States, where the business owner is expected to be part of the process, but it is what we have. And it has been proven that salary deferral is the best way to get people to save for their future. So the business owner just has to recognize you do play an important part of this. You also offer health benefits, you payroll and automatic, payments to direct deposit, and you have other benefits that you're offering. And so with a retirement plan, know that you're doing your part not only to save for yourself, which is key, but also providing a true benefit to your employees, allowing them to save for their own future.
All right, Chad, I want to thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom about this topic. It's much appreciated.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.